Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon. Good evening. We'll know in a second because it's one of Mike's favorite things where everybody is. But welcome to FullEnrich Friends, episode 6. Michael and I have been here since the first one. Matt is our special guest today. We'll introduce him a little bit later. But thank you for joining us. We'll let people join. We're just about, at the top of the hour. It usually takes a few minutes for people to join us. So thank you, everybody. Hopefully some of you came in a previous show, and welcome back. Welcome to all the new people who's today is the first time. We're very grateful for you joining us. Matt, Mike, do you want to say a word or two?
Welcome. If you want in the chat to start saying where you're at, that would be really cool. Add a little bit of color to the webinar. I am in Bucks County, Pennsylvania, headphoneless today. My Apple Max headphones, about 6 years old, Bluetooth, not going to connect anymore. So those don't work. So yesterday, I bought a pair of these Bose headphones, and they don't work that well either. So I'm headphoneless. I did, however, buy them. I expensed them to my company without getting any approval. So I'm going to find out if that even was something I could do. But I will find out. I'll find out soon, probably, now that we have our amazing head of HR back from maternity leave. I may get a note from her saying, Michael, what are you doing? So Matthew is in Miami, Florida, by the way. Fred is in San Francisco.
Yeah, you can see Ankit from India. We have Michael from Arizona. Jean, bonjour, from France. Adam from Sweden. We need someone from South America so that we have that continent covered.
Birthplace of FullEnrich.
It's correct, Adria. Absolutely correct.
Paris. Looks like the room's starting to fill in a little bit, so we can get into one of my favorite things to do here. For those who have not partaken, we have Berlin. By the way, Jeremy, whereabouts in Maine are you? Big fan of Maine. For those who are not super familiar with the geography of the United States, it's basically Canada. Great place. But anyways, Jeremy, no worries. We like to have a Jeopardy style question at the top of every show. Near Portland, Maine. Okay, cool. The winner of this question gets 500 free credits. You put the answer into the chat. We can't stop you from cheating. Please don't. But if you do, we won't know. On this day, March 26th, in 1827, this composer died at the age of 56. Deaf for the last decade of his life, meaning he never actually heard some of his greatest works performed. 500 credits to the first one. To put this into the chat, on this day, March 26th, it is not Mozart, Michael, but thank you. On this day, March 26th, in 1827, this composer died at the age of Beethoven. Adrian, 500 credits.
Nice.
Adrian from Paris. 500 free credits coming to you.
500 crédits. There we go.
Oh, nice. All right. No cheating either. All right. We've got a fun show for you today. We're going to run through some B2B tech news. We'll run through a couple interesting stories that are coming out, some of them kind of breaking. We'll talk about some events that we're going to be partaking in and that are ongoing. Fred will inform us about that. We'll talk a little bit about FullEnrich, especially to those who are new to our series here. And we'll have Matt talk about what it's like operating in the modern GTM space as an account executive at what I would like to think is a fairly nimble organization without a lot of red tape around our processes. Matt has a lot of leeway to kind of operate in the ways he sees fit. and how he incorporates tools like Claude to do that. It's a real honor and pleasure for me to have Matt here. I've never been on a webinar with somebody who's been to my house and brought a gift to my daughter. So first time for that. So it's a pleasure to have Matt with us. I'll introduce him a little bit more in depth later, but Matt, obviously feel free to chime in as you please up until your segment coming a little bit later. So breaking news from yesterday, Meta and YouTube held liable for youth mental health. So yesterday, a Los Angeles jury held Meta and YouTube negligent for designing platforms that harmed a young user's mental health, awarding $6 million in total damages. Not a ton. The jury found features like autoplay, infinite scrolling, and recommendation algorithms a substantial factor in causing depression, anxiety, and body dysmorphia. Meta is on the hook for 70% of that, YouTube for 30%. Both plan to appeal. You can imagine they're planning to appeal not because of the money. That's nothing for them, but I think for the precedent that this is setting. I have to say, this is like a big tobacco moment for these social media companies as a I'm happy to see this happen. A federal trial involving school districts and parents nationwide is set for this summer. So something definitely, especially if you have kids or just interested in where this is going, I'd be keeping an eye on where this trial is going over the summer. Moving on to OpenAI doubling down on enterprise and infrastructure. So OpenAI is on track to nearly double its workforce to 8,000 employees by the end of 2026, expanding heavily into enterprise sales and product delivery. And I think there's something interesting about this because really what it signals is the AI race that we're all seeing take place is much more about distribution at this point. So we'll see how these companies get into the enterprise space. And really, I think what we've seen over the last few years, especially a company like Deal, the best moat sometimes is just speed and getting embedded into the customers you want to be getting embedded into globally first. So we'll see how that plays out. Amazon acquires Fauna Robotics. Amazon just snapped up a humanoid robot maker, Fauna Robotics, doubling down on physical AI for logistics and fulfillment. Packages you order in the future, if not already, will be probably by and large brought to you by a robot. However you feel about that. Lastly, SpaceX IPO is reportedly imminent. This will be one of the largest and most significant public market events in years. So people who like to follow that, I'm sure, are already well informed on this imminent filing from SpaceX's IPO. But those are just some tech bites to go over before we talk about, from Fred, some upcoming events and ongoing events on the FullEnrich side.
So some of you may have joined us last week. We had a show that we call Dial and Sweat. It's a live cold calling show where our friend Giulio Segantini, if you don't know him, is a very funny guy. He's an actual legit cold calling expert who puts out a lot of content, but he also does, trainings in a bunch of companies. Is one of those guys who actually loves cold calling. He loves being abused by the people who do not want to get cold. So the show is called Dial and Sweat. It was in front of a live audience and cold calling people and trying to learn something out of it. It's coming back in 3 weeks, which should be April 17. And we're going to go every other week after that. So if you're interested in that, you go to fullenrich.com/events/Dial and Sweat. Don't worry, I will send you the URL, and then you can sign up for any of the upcoming events. We also are putting together another piece of content with our friend Giulio in more of the form of a classic webinar. Again, him being cold calling, cold emailing expert. He's breaking down what made him successful, and then I was going to share that over the course of a few months as a series. Same place to go, fullenrich.com/events. That we're populating. Don't go this very minute, and join in. And it's going to be fun and actually useful and actionable. Now, if you're more in real life kind of person, we're heading to an event this afternoon in San Francisco, go-to-market shift. If anybody's going there, just raise your hand or holler when we're there. Happy to see you. We're going to SaaS Talk in early April. I think it starts on the 14th of April, so 3 weeks from now. And maybe for our friends over in Paris, we're throwing an event together on the 21st of April at Exile, which is an incubator over in Paris, with the Business Operator Network, which is a network of mostly RevOps people. And the topic is going to be, RevOps best practices, and not only how do you set it up, but also when you have right signals, right automations, how do you make sure that you use it properly in the context of prospecting? If you're interested in that, hit me up. I'll get you in. And then we have one last thing, which is we're sponsoring an initiative called Pitch by Deal. So Deal is the company that provides HR services. They started a corporate VC recently, and then they put together a huge program they call Pitch by Deal, by which they want to have, somewhere around 20,000 starters apply to get, up to $1 million in funding. We're sponsoring that. And the reason why we're sponsoring it is really because we believe in helping, companies just get off the ground from 0 to 1, from 1 to 10, wherever we can help. We can help with data, obviously, is what we're known for, but also, giving a little bit, putting our thumb on the scale a little bit and letting them, grow faster. So that's the philosophy behind it. If you go on to the website Pitch by Deal, you'll see all the events that are coming up. The next one is going to be Paris on the 13th of April. Then we'll be in London and New York. So again, if you are in any of those areas, just hit us up. And now if you want to join the events, hit me up and I'll find a way to get you in.
Thank you very much, Fred. I met Matthew about 6 years ago. We were both working at a contact data vendor based out of Europe. Matthew was a big part of he led the expansion into the United States for that company, did a phenomenal job. I learned a lot about contact data and about sales intelligence in general from Matthew when I joined around his team back in 2020. And it's really interesting kind of what he's going to be talking about today. And I think it ties in a lot to the difference between FullEnrich and, our former employer and some of the, a lot of the contact data vendors out there. So for those who are, maybe not quite as familiar with FullEnrich as others, we don't have a single database full of contacts, right? And a lot of data vendors who operate on a seat-based model, they do. And essentially in that model, you're not technically buying data from them, you're buying access to their single database. If the data is missing or bad, you have a flat fee, you're paying them. So again, you're paying for access. Hopefully the data is there that you need. Often these platforms lack a real-time verification. So when they are bringing the data back to you, it sometimes becomes, well, fingers crossed that this is the right email or phone number. What we do here at FullEnrich, when you're requesting data from us, we're tapping into a waterfall in real time. We're going through 20 premium providers. Does this vendor have the data you're looking for? Does this one? No. Okay, yes, this one does. Now, because we operate on a credit model, that's not the end of the story. You have credits that you buy from us. Those credits are only exhausted once we get the data back from the waterfall and then verify it. So on the email side, we're going, hey, is this email valid? Probably valid, catch-all. Is it an invalid email? If it's an invalid email, no credits consumed, we don't pass that email back to you. On the phone side, I think, as we all know on the go-to-market side, mobile phones are paramount. If we don't find a mobile phone in the waterfall, and we find a landline, for example, you can have the landline if you want it. No credits are consumed. Credits are only consumed when we're bringing you back a mobile phone. So with FullEnrich, you're really buying actionable data. Your credits translate into data that's gone through our, not just waterfall, but verification process. And especially when it comes to plugging into tools like Claude, and if you're running lots of automations, it goes maybe without saying, but the outputs are only going to be as good as the inputs. And if you're trying to use certain AI tools or automations on top of, and not just contact data, but bad data in general, the tools are not going to be able to perform the way you want them to. And I think that's what makes FullEnrich, look, we're a very API first company. Our data is highly accurate and verified globally and compliant. So we fall really well into these use cases where people go, hey, I want to be a little more hands off. I want to run automations. Maybe I want Claude to do the work for me to identify who I should be reaching out to. You can rely so heavily on FullEnrich's data to perform actions like that, which I think is just, again, what makes our growth has been phenomenal over the last 12 to 24 months. This last quarter has been great. We're super excited for the future. Even just being here with everybody in this webinar today, it's just awesome to have everybody here. And, the energy you provide to our company and to our product is certainly noticed. So, but yeah, with no further ado, I'm going to pass over to Matt, who has some really exciting things to share with us. Fred, yeah.
Yeah, there was a question earlier in the chat from Adriel about the list builder, a little bit tongue-in-cheek in terms of like, when are we going to make it as good as Clay? But can you say a couple words about the search product specifically?
No, I'm just kidding. So, look, it really depends on what you're trying to get out of the list builder, I guess. What we're always going to be improving our list builder, right? It just launched last month. Our product team is continually improving our list building functionality. I don't think you're going to see a place where it feels like Clay. We're not trying to have it feel like Clay, where you're operating in tables and pulling data in from various sources. There's certain, especially niche data that Clay is going to provide that I don't know if it's not on our roadmap to focus on. What we're heavily focused on is guiding you through our search functionality to find the people that are within your ICP that you should be reaching out to. And by the way, now here's the contact data that's going to help you get there. Happy to chat. I want to give Matt the time that he deserves. He's prepared a bit for this, but we're happy to chat offline about the specifics of our search functionality. So we can pick that question up and go into the specifics behind what you mean by that.
Sounds great. Matt, why don't you take it away?
And I think that could be a good segue to show what we're going to talk about now with Claude and our MCP server, because you can do a lot of these more specific searches. So it's exactly how I've been using it, right? Because I can get a little bit deeper, and I'll show you exactly what this looks like. So just take a step back. FullEnrich now has an MCP server with Claude. So you have that all configured and set up. So you can essentially set up with Claude and connect all of your tools, your HubSpot, your Salesforce, your CRM, maybe your outreach tools, your sequencing tools, marketing tools, everything, Slack, Gmail. You want to give it as much context as possible within your organization and seeing everything that you might be able to have and offer. And when you can connect everything together, that's where like a lot of the magic happens, and we can really drill down into a lot of these. So let me show an example, right, as like a sales rep, maybe a marketing rep, but more sales rep, how they could use this in Claude and set up these more bespoke workflows. And then I want to show another briefly after on like a RevOps motion on what you can do with the CRM using Claude. So let me share my screen.
Well, Matt pulls that up, by the way, everybody. He's like 6'4", 5", played offensive line. I always say D1, but it wasn't D1. It was D2, wasn't it?
D2. I chose D2.
Just fine. Yeah. It's still something to be proud of.
Yeah.
For everybody outside of the US, I send you what that really means, because I don't know. A lot of us understand what those rules are.
That's a big, powerful boy.
it's a big deal. Yeah. All right, Matt. You're up.
Good. Everyone can see this, guys? Mike, good? Fred?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, right, once you have everything connected into Claude, this is what we can do now. So we have about 50 or so beta users with the FullEnrich MCP on Claude today that are using this, and they're not even leaving Claude. They're staying in it because it's working so well. So I had Claude create this for me based on the workflows I've already created this week. So I've been running these campaigns and testing this, and it's been working really well for me. And it can show you how quickly it takes. So the full workflow essentially is finding your ICP, checking your CRM to make sure they're not being worked or any dupes and stuff like that, enriching with mobiles and emails, Claude creating the draft emails, setting up sequences, call tasks, and then follow-up from there. So you could set up this full workflow sequence using FullEnrich here. So as a prompt here, obviously you could think about this in your own use case. The more, the better, right? So this is more of a basic one, but find me heads of sales, VPs of sales, sales directors in the US, 50 to 200 employees. I could be using outbound prospecting tools or any other tools and things like that. I just did another one that was more signal based, and I said, show me BDR managers that are hiring for sales reps in New York, right? So I could see all of these managers that are hiring, right? All these signals are coming from the web and Claude and feeding back with FullEnrich here using our search API and our enrichment API. So FullEnrich then was able to find, matching this ICP, these contacts that are fitting my mold, right? And exactly what I want in my ICP. Took about 30 seconds to find them. Great, I spot check them. We give the LinkedIn URLs. I just want to make sure they're getting the right ones. And then step 2 is dedupe, right? Understand, okay, what's in the CRM today? Oh, great. 34 are brand new that we enrich with FullEnrich. These are going to be brand new contacts and accounts in your CRM. 7 were already in there, but missing a mobile. Good, let's enrich those. 4 of them were owned by another rep. Let's skip those. Let's not step on any toes. And 3 are customers. Let's definitely skip those, right? So this is happening automatically in the background so that you're not making any mistakes within the actual data itself. Step 3, right? Enriching the data. So getting the mobiles and emails. You can kind of see, all right, great, 90% mobile coverage, email coverage, right? This is all going through FullEnrich waterfall, 20 sources, verifying these emails and the mobile so you know exactly what you're going to reach. This is a smaller sample, right? So you can imagine you could do this over 10,000 contacts across 10 reps, right? Every week or whatever you wanted to do in terms of the contacts. But this is just a smaller example. I have Claude trying to do some personalized outbound emails for me. At the end of the day, we want to just use this to warm up the prospect and get in there and let them know who we are. We're not really going to be booking a lot of meetings from emails. It's very hard these days, right? People are getting a million emails every day. So it's important to maybe stand out on the email. So I wanted to tell, if I'm reaching out to Rachel, who's targeting IT teams, I want to inflict the pain a little bit more, right? And say, hey, I know it's tough for IT and engineering teams and tough to identify them, get better mobiles. Let us help you with 15 data sources to find these contacts, right? We're going to fill a lot of those gaps. So being a little bit specific into their market and how we can help them there. But the main point is the multi-channel, the multi-touch sequence. So people think, I think that AI is going to solve it all and book all these meetings for them, but it's going to save you a lot of time in this whole process. Like this took me a couple minutes to set up, but it's about the multi-channel. So the email step, I want to make a dial to them, maybe leave a voicemail. If I get a voicemail, I might tell them, hey, I sent you over an email. Feel free to check it out. Give me a ring. Maybe send another follow-up email, another call. But I'm also sprinkling a LinkedIn connection in there because I want to connect with them on LinkedIn and show a face to name. A lot of times, a lot of these emails are AI agent focus or just like random people sending emails, and it's hard to put a face to a name. So bridging that gap to LinkedIn is super important. So I'll send a LinkedIn connect and say, hey, sent you over an email. Love to connect on here as well. Matt with FullEnrich. Just to bridge the gap. And this does wonders, right? To really show them who you are. And I only connect with people that look like they're active on LinkedIn. You could use Claude to ask that too. Show me the people that are actually posting on LinkedIn, that they're actually sending connects, whatever, have a bunch of connections on LinkedIn. Yeah. So I don't want to connect with people that don't use it, right? Then a waste connects.
And just to, I was at an event yesterday and the guys from Quotient were there, which is a CPQ company. And they said of all the sales reps that they've, analyzed performance of, which is probably in the tens of thousands, if not more. They said the number one indicator of success that these reps had in common was they operated with urgency, which I found was really interesting. And if you're not using this multi-touch approach, it kind of lacks urgency. You're not going to get the meeting booked as quickly as you'd like to. You're not going to move through the sales cycle as quickly as you'd like to. This really speaks to urgency. And Matt, this is a real life. You're running this, right? Yeah. So we may have to bring you back in 2-3 weeks. Let's see how this goes. If it doesn't go well, we'll never talk about it again. But if it goes great, let's get you back in here and have you talk about it. I'm sure it's going to go great. Obviously, 100%. You can tell Matt's well prepared for this. But yeah, this is great.
Yeah, and I think obviously the cell phone number, right? The mobile dial is what's really going to book this meeting. So we're going to get them on the line. We're going to get them probably on a call. So the LinkedIn, the email, all these other steps are just supporting, right? To show them, hey, this is what we do. And then, yeah, obviously you guys can send this to anything you want that's connected, your outreach, your sales loft, your CRM, your whatever tool you're using. I send these to HubSpot to create tasks for me so that I have call tasks set up. I have email tasks that I follow up on and LinkedIn requests. So everything is managed through my HubSpot where I run a lot of the campaigns.
Do we know
yeah.
which version of, Michael has a question here, great name. Which version of Claude AI are you using with this setup? Do we?
Like which plan? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, we can let you know specifics.
The model though is the Opus model, which works better for this. The Opus extended thinking, and with the MCP server, that's what connects everything pretty well. And the whole point of the MCP server, as well as like our team has set up files in the server that can pull all these things a lot easier through FullEnrich. So for example, you could quickly say, here is an account that is we want to go after. Find us 100 more lookalike accounts. That's going to use FullEnrich, then find those lookalikes and return those back for you. So there's doing a lot of these back end things that we set up for you to make it as easy as possible. A couple other things I use this for, like just obviously my sales day to day is like email management. So who hasn't responded back to me in a couple weeks or certain emails? I can ask about deal risks from HubSpot. What deals are at risk right now and why, and what should I do? Accounts that are in the news, accounts that I'm prospecting that maybe hiring or building offices that I want to know about, right? I want to see those. Sign up leads, so I can manage all my sign up leads that come into HubSpot and say, show me the ones that don't have or the best accounts and best contact that I probably should go after. So,
yeah. And Adrian has a question here about, do we think it's worth creating a user interface to run this? And Adrian, I assume you mean as FullEnrich for us to create this for people who want to use Claude. Yeah, we're early days, right? We've just launched our MCP capability. Yes, is the answer to that. There will be essentially, I would imagine what we're going to be providing you are prompts that you can use to easily build your own. I don't know if we're going to get, because look, there may be some customization that you're going to want that maybe somebody else doesn't. But I think what we will probably end up doing, and this is your input and feedback is really helpful here, by the way, but we'll probably end up building, we'll probably take you 90% of the way there and allow, leave room for customization that you'll want on your end. And we'll share this, by the way, obviously after the call, just as kind of a guide for everybody.
Building on that, Michael, we are building what comes down to a library of templates and workflows, whether it is on Claude or NA10, Zapier, Make, by the way. We're building that library. It's going to be available starting in April, and then we're going to keep building things on it. Let our users contribute to it as well, because most of the time, the most creative pieces come from our users, and then they share with us how they use FullEnrich in the context of something bigger. So bear with us for a bit. It's coming soon.
And look, no, the emails, there probably is an AI layer to the emails Matt sends, but Matt's not just sending an AI copy email fully to people. Don't want to speak for you, Matt, there, but just how you work. Yeah,
because they'll set up drafts for me, and then I have to edit the drafts a little bit, but that's just the nature of, right? That's why we can't just fully rely on this stuff. It saved me, right? Like I know teams that are taking half a day or a full days to do this. This took me a few minutes to do, legit. So super simple to do. And I don't know if I'll show this one in a quick minute, but like we can maybe talk about this on the next one or in future ones. But this one is a little bit different, where it's RevOps focused. We can essentially ask Claude and prompt it to say, show me all the contacts in your CRM that are missing mobiles, missing emails. Show me all the ones that are missing in your ICP. So which one? I need VPs and Directors of Sales, and I'm missing 5,000 mobiles for them. So this can scan, identify in your CRM and show the gaps. And then, of course, using FullEnrich to fill those gaps. So your team can come into your CRM with more mobiles in your ICP and, fill employee ranges and websites and missing firmographic data too. So super powerful, and automation from here. This can be set up daily, inbounds that come in, other providers your reps are using that are sending data into the CRM. We can pick up and fill the missing gaps as they come in, and super powerful through all the connectors. And don't need any other integrations, things like that. So
Thanks, Matt. I know our time is almost up. So thank you for presenting that, and thank you for that teaser. I think you should come back next week and let's dig deeper into that one. Everybody, we've seen the questions in the chat. We'll share the slides that Matt presented. We typically don't share the video of the show because we want you to come back live next week. Although we can get the best moments out of it to make sure that you don't lose any of that content. We'll be back next week. Michael, do you want to say a word of conclusion?
Yeah, look, next week we're going to have a partner on. Optic AI is going to be joining us. So if you haven't seen Optic, UK based, the week after that we're going to have Store Leads join us. So we have two partners that are going to be joining us. They are partners of FullEnrich. They incorporate our data into their product. They have awesome products. So they'll be joining us over the next couple of weeks. And yeah, I'm sure we'll bring Matthew back in here to wrap some things up around, especially the RevOps use case. And this was really great, Matt. So thanks for sharing that and the detail you did and the preparation that you took upon yourself for this webinar. So yeah, really, really good stuff. Yeah, Remy, we'll get a hold over email. Be best. We can talk about sharing the webinar. We can talk about, hopping on the call with your sales team if you want us there. So let's see, Remy, what the best way for us is to relay some information to you. And yeah, thank you so much, everyone, for being here. There was 10,000 of you in here at one point. So if you believe that, I guess please don't believe that. There wasn't quite 10,000, but we'll get there. So thank you again, everybody. And we look forward to seeing you next week, and we'll communicate in other channels in the meantime if you want to get a hold of us.
Sounds great. Thank you, everybody. Have a great rest of your day.
See you, everyone.